Hey, welcome to the Pharmacy Leaders Podcast. Excited to talk to you tonight. And a lot going on in pharmacy world, and just wanted to kind of review some of the top ones from this week. So, again, if you want to get any of the books that I write, you can get a free audiobook code. Just go to memorizingpharm.com, click on free book codes, and it will take you to memorizingpharm.com/free book codes. And I update it every week. The way that it works is once I go through a bunch of codes, then they'll give me more, and then I give them away until they're all gone. So again, college interviews and admissions, if you're pre-pharmacy, I know they just opened up the next cycle, career residency entrepreneurship, pharmacology in the top 200, and pharmacotherapy. Also, if you're going to be taking top 200 class this fall, I've got a free basic online pharmacology course. Just go to memorizingpharm.com/basic. Then click on basic online pharmacology, and you just enroll in the course for free. I've got a new book series I'm working on, and we're getting it, the audio recorded now. But it's Memorizing Pharmacology Questions, Answers, and Rationales, Book 1. And I'm going to do 7 books in a row, then kind of bundle them together. But if you want to get a preview, you can look for that on Amazon. Right now it's on Kindle, but I always go Kindle, audiobook, and then print book is how I publish things. On the RX Radio podcast, the last episode was about canceling student debt, and it was Tim Ulbrich. And I know I have no student debt, but I still love listening to these because it's just kind of fascinating how complicated everything is. And just to summarize, there are 2 plans going out right now. Bernie Sanders' plan, which basically says we'll cancel everybody's student loan debt by putting a small tax on certain financial transactions like stock trades and things like that. And then there's another plan which is going to take away the first $50,000 if you don't make $100,000 or more. And for many of you, this would not affect you at all. But this is all kind of campaign rhetoric right now. Although people are paying attention to the student debt, no one's actually done anything that's necessarily going to help you yet. So moving from that, Your Financial Pharmacist podcast had what you should be doing during your grace period with Christina Slavonic, and it was Tim Baker. And I guess I'm not going to go on a repayment rant, but basically, just because you made it through pharmacy school, just because you passed organic chemistry, does not mean you're qualified to know the best way to pay back your loans and to create this budget. So completely recommend these guys because honestly, it is so complicated in paying back your loans in a way that will optimize how little you have to pay back. When I was in the last years of my real estate career, I'd sold 350 houses. So I could walk in a house and walk right back out about 5 seconds later, say, nope, this isn't a good one. And I just knew everything. And I wanted so well because I had gone through so many transactions. And like a house, people move an average of 11 times in their lifetime. But when you're buying your first house, there is no way that you're going to have the experience of a veteran real estate agent who's gone through hundreds and hundreds of houses that can point out the things that you would find out about later that you might not notice that they just could pick up on very quickly. So I want to tell you a quick story about APHA in Seattle. And I was at a table with Christina Slavonic, and we did our presentation talking about real estate, talking about some investment strategies and things like that. But afterwards, Tim Baker was just kind of sitting at a table, and people would just come up to him and ask him this question and then next one. And the way that he was just firing off answers to these complicated questions about student loans was just phenomenal. You just could tell you were with an expert. Someone would ask a question, and then usually he would actually ask a couple of questions back to refine his answer, but then it would just be an exact answer from someone who knew exactly what they were talking about with student loans. So Your Financial Pharmacist and Student Loan Planner are the only 2 places I know that have extensive, and I mean dozens, hundreds of people that they have talked to over and over again and already can understand your situation where you're really kind of reinventing the wheel. So I definitely recommend a conversation with either of those. Getting back to what should you be doing in summer if you've kind of got a little time on your hands, TLDR Pharmacy came out with their second part of the diabetes management. So their blog is such an easy read. Like, it's fun, it's interesting, and it's just cool. So definitely recommend that. June 17th, he came out with Diabetes Management Part 1, everything insulin, and then Building a Regimen in Diabetes Part 2. So definitely check those out, especially if you're in residency, especially if you're in your last years of pharmacy school. I always like MedEd 101's podcast episodes. He's talking about clopidogrel this last time, but just 7 to 12 minutes about a new drug. Just you always pick up some kind of pearl or some kind of tip. Always nice to talk to someone or listen to someone in practice. Pharmacy Podcast Network, 2 episodes that were really kind of and what I enjoyed the most were the non-traditional pharmacist student series. This was episode 6 with Lexi Gittleson, and just kind of talking to students, what they're thinking, how they're being innovative, how they're being entrepreneurial. Always kind of cool to hear Matt Paterini interviewing those students and seeing what's going on. The other thing that I thought was cool was Jessica Louie, the burnout doctor, on the RX Buzz with Ashley RX, and really kind of better understanding how you can get rid of those things in your life that are getting in the way of your success. And just as a parent, I know I've got so many things going on, and she talks about Maria Kondo, and I've got a new fan favorite. I think his name is James Clear, and he wrote this book called Atomic Habits. And an atomic habit is not one that explodes. It makes it sound like an atomic bomb habit, but it's the other way around. It's just a very tiny change that makes a huge difference. And I'll give you a couple of atomic habits that I've put into place that I didn't know were atomic habits until I heard that phrase. But the first one is I would always get like an energy drink on the way to work when I would work late, like now, like it's 9:15 on a Sunday night. And I would get like the box of 4 because it's $6.99 instead of the $2.50 for the one. And what I started doing was driving past on the left lane instead of the right. And 90% of the time, I wouldn't go in to get the drink because I was in the left lane. Another thing that I did is I always keep like the front right of my car clean. Normally kind of just threw things there, and I found that it helped keep the whole car clean. And it just, I don't know what it is, but just a little bit of a mindset shift in that little changes matter. And that each of these little changes is going to really help quite a bit. And then my third one, I'd gotten this tip from the Fit Pharmacist, Adam Martin, that, well, when you're hungry, just get a drink of water instead. But for whatever reason, I just don't like getting a glass, putting the water in, and I did it a couple times and I lost some weight, but then it came back. So I took a habit, and this is called habit stacking. I think is the way that the Atomic Habits book goes over it. And what I did was something that drives my wife crazy, probably many wives across the country crazy, is when someone goes into the fridge and drinks right from the container. But that habit is still there. So what I did was I put a gallon of water, one of those plastic gallons you can buy for 99 cents for drinking water. And so where I used to go and get maybe 16 Gatorade, or not Gatorades, but Powerade Zeros and pay for that. Now, like once a month, I'll get $1 water. And then instead of going and getting those energy drinks, when I do go in, I might get an energy drink still, one of them, but I'll also get like one of those green smoothie drinks too, to kind of even it out. So these little habits that I've been kind of adding on, and I start adding them onto the front of my schedule, and I'd keep a schedule in Microsoft Word, not in Outlook or anything like that. And so I'm just saying that, there are probably some things that are driving you kind of crazy. And if you just take the time to just work on one, accept that your one habit is going to kind of get things moving. So anyway, just thought that was kind of cool. And then the last one, there was a really good YouTube video. It was a month ago. How to find your first pharmacist job from Paul Tran, pharmacist. I'm sorry, Paul, for putting you in this this video looking like this, but I loved the Paul Tran pharmacist channel, and this was a really thoughtful 10-minute explanation of how to get that first pharmacist job. What are the things that you need to do? So again, I won't belabor this week. I got to get back to some work on some books, but hope you have a great week, and I'm always happy to talk to you, especially easy to contact me on Facebook Messenger or at my email, aaguerra@dmacc.edu.